Welcome to this Masterclass Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We are taking an ultra-deep investigative dive into a condition that honestly just absolutely plagues modern American life. We're not just going to skim the surface or talk about basic symptoms. No, we are going deep into the physiological, the chemical, and the neurological root causes of your digestive discomfort. We're going to look at exactly how your micro-mental health is literally altering your gut, how your gut is rewiring your brain, and how our modern lifestyle is practically designed to break down our biology. So let's just get right into it.
Now, I want you to think about this number for a second. According to the American College of Gastroenterology, nearly 30% of adults experience bloating every single week. 30%. That is a staggering statistic. It means roughly a third of the population is just walking around every single day with compromised energy, disrupted focus, and this physical discomfort that completely drains their cognitive performance and overall quality of life. This isn't just some minor inconvenience, right? It's a massive, population-level biological red flag.
So, this brings us to the central mystery of our explainer today. Why does our body seemingly turn against us right after a meal? Like, is that heavy, tight pressure you feel simply about the actual food on your plate? Or is there a much deeper biological short circuit happening within your interconnected health systems? To really answer that, we have to map out exactly what happens when normal digestion fails. And we're going to start with the pure physical mechanics of the issue.
Section 1. The anatomy of bloating.
You know, a lot of times, this whole cascade of discomfort starts with a purely mechanical issue called aerophagia. And that's just a fancy clinical term for the excessive swallowing of air. Think about our modern work environments for a second. We're driven by digital overload, constant stimulation, so what do? We eat way too quickly. We're chugging down carbonated beverages while frantically scrolling through emails, and we're taking these shallow, stressed-out breaths. Every single time we do that, we are mechanically forcing air straight down into the digestive system. It accumulates a sheer physical pressure before the digestive process even truly begins. And then we add the fuel. We all know the common dietary triggers, right? Beans, legumes, cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower and cabbage. And of course, dairy for anyone lacking specific digestive enzymes. These are the foods that undergo prolonged fermentation down in the colon, and they create gas as a totally natural byproduct. But here is the absolutely crucial nuance I want you to take away from this. Just avoiding these foods, it's usually just a band-aid. The gas production itself is totally normal. The actual dysfunction, the real problem, is the fact that this gas gets trapped and causes severe inflammation.
And to really grasp how disruptive this trapped gas is, consider this fact. 66% of IBS patients rank bloating as their absolute most life-altering daily symptom. 66%. It literally dictates what clothes they can wear, it causes social isolation, and it absolutely tanks their emotional resilience. It is this heavy physical burden that directly fragments their attention and destroys their capacity for deep work. Which actually brings us to a massive twist in our medical detective story here. The true root cause of your chronic digestive failure, it might not even be in your stomach at all. It might actually be in your nervous system.
Section 2. The gut-brain axis.
Okay, I want you to wrap your head around this massive number, 500 million. That is the exact number of neurons located right inside your gastrointestinal tract. Let that sink in. You literally have an incredibly complex, highly sensitive neural network operating inside your belly at this very moment.
In science, we call this the enteric nervous system, or basically your second brain. And I just love this because it so brilliantly illustrates the interconnectedness of human biology. This little brain down in your gut is in constant, non-stop, two-way communication with your primary brain up in your skull. And it does this through the vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve as this high-speed biological information highway. It is constantly taking your emotional state, your micro-mental health, and translating it directly into physical, chemical commands for your digestive organs.
What this means is we really have to look at your autonomic nervous system. When you're stressed out, what we call sympathetic dominance, or the classic fight-or-flight state, your brain actively halts your digestion. It literally hits the brakes. Blood is quickly routed away from the gut to your muscles, and peristalsis just completely stops. On the flip side, parasympathetic dominance, the rest and digest state, is an absolute, non-negotiable biological requirement for healthy gut motility. So if you're living in a state of chronic modern stress, your gut is permanently locked down.
And the physical damage from this lockdown is very, very real. When the hypothalamic pituitary axis perceives stress, your body pumps out cortisol.
And chronically high cortisol triggers a highly destructive chemical cascade. It actively increases your gastric acid and dramatically increases gut permeability. This is exactly what creates the condition widely known as leaky gut. Your normal digestion physically breaks down, simply because your brain is constantly telling your body that it's under attack.
Section 3. Evidence-based supplement solutions. So, the big question. How on earth do we fix a system that is both mechanically and neurologically compromised? Well, let's look at the clinical data. And we aren't just looking at what supplements to take, but the precise biological mechanisms of how they actually alter the gut environment. First up, probiotics. They actively balance the microbiome flora, which a major 2018 review confirmed directly improves IBS regularity. Then there's ginger. Ginger actually mechanically speeds up stomach emptying, and according to a 2020 study, it actively decreases gut inflammation. And psyllium? Psyllium adds physical bulk, drawing water into your stools to ease passage and prevent the constipation that causes all that gas to back up in the first place.
But honestly, one of the most incredibly powerful interventions we found actually comes from an essential oil. Check this out. A fascinating 2015 study demonstrated a massive 40% decrease in IBS symptoms, including severe bloating, after participants used peppermint oil capsules 3 times daily for just 4 weeks. 40%! That is a real game changer.
Now, the crucial point here is exactly why this works. Peppermint oil contains a highly active compound called L-menthol. And L-menthol chemically interacts right with the smooth muscle of your intestinal wall, actively suppressing muscle spasms. Basically, it acts as a powerful antispasmodic. It's chemically forcing your digestive tract to just relax, which finally allows all that trapped, painful gas to move forward.
There are also a few other targeted clinical additions heavily supported by the literature. Cinnamon oil, for example, features potent anti-inflammatory compounds that fight indigestion. Exogenous digestive enzymes, like lactase, can directly step in to assist your body in breaking down complex nutrients. And then there's a surprising one, vitamin D. A 2017 study found that high, targeted doses of vitamin D significantly improved gastrointestinal symptoms in deficient IBS patients. And honestly, given our modern indoor screen-heavy lifestyles, this systemic vitamin deficiency is a massive, massive blind spot when it comes to gut health.
Section 4. Movement as medicine.
Okay, so supplements are great for altering the chemical environment, but we also absolutely must address the structural and nervous system environment. And if you think physical movement is just about, burning calories or building muscle, this research is going to completely change your mind. A study published in the Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine found that 75% of participants reported significant relief from their bloating within just 4 to 6 weeks of practicing targeted, specific yoga sequences.
And this right here perfectly illustrates our whole systems thinking approach, because we aren't just talking about stretching your hamstrings. Targeted movement like this acts as a true dual-action cure. On one hand, it's a structural mechanical intervention that physically pushes trapped gas through your intestines. But on the exact same token, it is a profound neurological intervention. It directly stimulates that vagus nerve we talked about, signaling deep safety to your brain and actively resetting your entire gut-brain axis. So let's break down the specific mechanical fixes. First is Pavan Muktasana, often called the wind-relieving pose. This actively compresses your abdomen to physically force gas pockets through the digestive tract. Next is Malasana, the deep squat. This pose naturally relaxes the puborectalis muscle, which is actually the exact anatomical position humans evolved to use for elimination. And finally, Supta Matsyendrasana, a supine twist. This one is amazing because it structurally follows the exact anatomical pathway of your ascending and descending large intestine to literally wring out trapped air like a wet towel.
And then we pivot to the neurological fixes. These poses basically act as a direct off switch for your cortisol. Balasana, or child's pose, physically expands your diaphragm against your thighs, which immediately activates that rest and digest parasympathetic system. Bridge pose actively stimulates the vagus nerve right up in your neck and chest. And Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall, completely reverses the daily gravitational pressure on your colon. Crucially, this last pose is also an absolute masterclass in sleep optimization because it deeply downregulates your entire nervous system, prepping you for restorative recovery. To make all of this incredibly actionable for you, here is a simple 10-minute daily protocol. In the morning, right on an empty stomach, utilize those active mechanical poses. Do the wind-relieving pose and the deep squat to really kickstart your peristalsis for the day. Then, in the evening, maybe 2 hours post-meal, shift to the neurological poses. Use the supine twist and legs up the wall. This will clear out all that accumulated daily tension and perfectly prepare your body's sleep architecture for healthy aging and overnight recovery.
Ultimately, to summarize the core thesis of our explainer today, you simply cannot separate your mind from your digestive ecosystem. With over 100 million nerve cells locked in a constant, 24/7, two-way dialogue with your primary brain, your gut is quite literally a direct reflection of your mental state, your stress resilience, and your everyday lifestyle choices. It's all connected.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. We've gone through the science, the chemistry, and the complex anatomy. But at the end of the day, the real variable here is you. I want you to look beyond what's just on your plate. Really evaluate your modern lifestyle, your digital habits, and your true emotional bandwidth. And I'll leave you with this one question to ponder. How is your daily stress physically manifesting in your body right now?